What's up, fantasy managers? Welcome back to another episode of the First Pitch Podcast brought to you by PitcherList.com. My name is Jake Crumpler, and I'll be your host for this edition of the pod. You can follow me on Twitter at Jake Crumpler, and you can find all of my work at CrumplerBaseball.com. Let's dive into everything baseball related from Monday, June 9th. We'll start it off, as always, with the transactions, injuries, news, and notes from around the league, beginning things with the bad news, as starting pitcher Ryan Weathers was placed on the 60-day IL with a lat strain. It's pretty unusual for a player to be placed directly on the 60-day IL, so clearly this is a very serious injury for Weathers. He will not be eligible to return until mid-August, though I wouldn't be surprised if he missed the remainder of the year. In a corresponding move, starting pitcher Eury Perez was activated from the 60-day IL. He had been out for the past year plus after undergoing Tommy John surgery, and he made his return to start in Pittsburgh, tossing 3 innings, allowing 4 hits and 4 earned runs while walking 2 and striking out 5. He induced 8 whiffs with 24% CSW across 70 pitches, and Perez's stuff looked really good. He also displayed some new pitches. I don't know if it was just the designations that StatCast was making on his pitches, but it looked like he had a cutter as opposed to a slider, and he incorporated a sinker, a pitch that he didn't have before. But Perez definitely looked like he was a little rusty. However, he was able to touch 100 miles per hour. So the velocity is still there, which is cool, but I think it's going to be a while until he's got the command and control to really harness the stuff that he's got. But that's Eury Perez returning from the 60-day IL. And next we have outfielder Wilyer Abreu, who was placed on the 10-day IL with an oblique strain. So unfortunately, Abreu will likely be out for a few weeks, but that did open up a spot on the Red Sox roster for them to promote the number 1 prospect in baseball, outfielder Roman Anthony. He had his contract selected from the minors and made his debut on Monday, batting 5th and playing right field. It looks like he's going to be the everyday right fielder for the Red Sox this year at AAA. Roman Anthony batted .288 with 10 homers and 3 steals to go with a 146 WRC plus. Most notably, in my mind, was the 19% walk rate that he displayed. So very patient approach there from Roman Anthony. Really excited to see what he can do. He should be rostered universally. In terms of transactions, outfielder Leody Taveras was DFA'd by the Mariners. He had been previously DFA'd by the Rangers and then was picked up by the Mariners. And since heading to Seattle, he's batted just 174 with 2 homers and 3 steals and a 32 WRC plus. So Taveras is likely to become a free agent once again. Roster resource suggests that Miles Mastrobuoni and Dylan Moore will platoon in right field for the Mariners, but outfielder Dominic Canzone was recalled from the minors in a corresponding move, and he's always had that quad A type feel to him where, maybe just give him the chance and see what he can do at AAA this year. Canzone has batted .296 with 13 homers and 3 steals to go with a 129 WRC plus, and he homered in his return on Monday, so maybe he sees the strong side of that right field platoon over Mastrobuoni in Seattle. And lastly, we have outfielder Lane Thomas, who was activated from the 10-day IL. He had been out for quite a while with plantar fasciitis. He's been limited to just 17 games this season and was really terrible when he was playing, but he'll return to being the Guardians' everyday center fielder. That's Lane Thomas returning from the IL. Now we can take a look at our notable performances from Monday, a day in which we had just 9 games on our slate. We'll start it off with our hitters, leading off with catcher Alejandro Kirk, who helped the Blue Jays to win in St. Louis, going 4 for 5 with a run, 2 doubles, a home run, and 2 runs batted in. It was his 4th homer of the year, and it traveled 404 feet at 103 miles per hour. And Kirk has been on fire recently, batting .429 across his last 15 games. An offensive explosion have been something he's been lacking the past 2 years as Kirk's become more of a defensively focused catcher. But the most aggressive approach of his career has allowed him to impact the ball harder more regularly this year, leading to an honestly very impressive career high 56% hard hit rate, which when combined with Kirk's usually elite 10% strikeout rate supports this boosted batting average that we're seeing. He's batting .316 with a 782 OPS on the season. It also supports an increased power ceiling, which means we could see Kirk return to double-digit dingers for the first time since 2022. In my mind, Kirk needs to be rostered everywhere as an elite batting average contributor without empty production in that category. Next, we have first baseman Matt Olson, who helped the Braves to win in Milwaukee, going 1 for 3 with a run, a home run, 2 runs batted in, and 2 walks. Was his 14th homer of the year, and it traveled 417 feet at 106 miles per hour. And after an incredible 54 homer campaign in 2023, Olson took a huge step back last year, as his 117 WRC plus is still good, but it was the lowest of his career outside of 2020. And Olson is looking to bounce back this year, and he's deployed the most patient approach of his career, swinging less than 44% of the time, and it's paying off in the form of a career high 19% barrel rate and 56% hard hit rate, which is crazy to think, because in 2023 Olson was up there with Judge and Stanton and Ohtani in terms of being one of the biggest StatCast standouts. So it's impressive that he's one-upped even himself in this year, but he's struggled to lift the ball. So I think that's why we're not seeing obscene power numbers. Like I said, 14 homers on the season for Olson suggests that he's going to exceed 30 on the season, but the StatCast metrics suggest he's could hit upwards of 40 or 50. So I think once he starts lifting the ball, we could see Olson go on a tear similar to the one he went on in 2023. I'd be buying low on Matt Olson right now, as I see a big power surge throughout the winter, or throughout the winter. Yeah, that makes sense. Lastly, we have catcher Bo Naylor, who did all he could, but the Guardians lost to the Reds. He went 2 for 3 with 2 runs, a home run, and an RBI, and a walk for good measure. It was his 9th homer of the year, and it traveled 388 feet at 102 miles per hour. And overshadowed by his brother's walk-off grand slam, Bo Naylor had a great night of his own as he looks to establish himself in the big leagues amidst his third job of getting his plate discipline back in order, which became concerning last year with a 0.24 walk to strikeout ratio. He was striking out way too much. I think it was over 31% of the time, while walking just 5% of the time. But he's gotten those plate discipline metrics back in order. Bo Naylor's walk to strikeout ratio is back over 0.5, which is pretty stellar. And he's sporting the best barrel rate of his career at 11%, which supports his current 20-plus homer pace on the season. But Naylor will drag down your batting average because he strikes out a lot still, and he hits everything in the air, which suppresses his BABIP. But Naylor is certainly a worthwhile power option in 2-catcher 15-team leagues. But if you'd like a breakdown of other notable hitting performances from Monday, check out the Daily Batters Box article over on PitcherList.com. Now we'll head to the mound and check out the notable starting pitching performances, opening with Yusei Kikuchi, who helped the Angels to win against the A's, tossing 7 1/3 shutout innings, allowing just 1 hit and 1 walk while striking out 5. He induced 11 whiffs with 25% CSW across 104 pitches, and Kikuchi has been really lucky this year. He's got a 2.92 ERA, but the luck is evidenced by a 1.47 whip and a 4.67 xFIP. It's hard to pinpoint exactly where the luck is coming from. He's walking a ton of guys and he's stranding them often, but his BABIP is pretty high and he's given up a normal amount of homers. So it's the hotel luck is sort of balanced out there. He's not really great at contact suppression or inducing grounders. So the high BABIP or a low BABIP and a low home run rate wouldn't be something that would be supported by Kikuchi's metrics. So, but it still all feels like it could fall apart at any point. I mean, just the xFIP at 4.67 being almost 2 runs higher than his ERA suggests that at some point he's going to have a blow up. But Kikuchi made it work with 7 1/3 1-hit innings against the A's on Monday. He got away with 10 foul balls, 5 called strikes, and 6 out of 7 outs on balls in play with his slider. And that pitch also induced 8 whiffs as his most thrown offering, which allowed his underwhelming heater to avoid damage, while curveballs kept him in counts. I'd be trying to sell high on Kikuchi while his ERA still looks good. He gets the Orioles in Baltimore next, and while I'm probably still starting him there because I guess you could say he's on a Vargas rule, I'm not too excited to see how this plays out in the second half. And on the other side of that game, Jeffrey Springs did all he could, but the A's lost in Anaheim. Grant Holman opened with a perfect first for Springs, and then he came in with 6 innings, 5 hits, 4 earned runs. He walked nobody while striking out 8, inducing 20 whiffs with 38% CSW across 85 pitches. And those 20 whiffs led baseball on Monday, earning Springs the gallows pole. He faced a righty-heavy lineup and obliterated them with his changeup, returning 13 whiffs and 44% CSW as he kept it low and arm side. Springs then filled up the zone with heaters and sliders and got away with a lot of poorly placed offerings, including a slider that was sent over the wall by Joe Adell. I guess he didn't get away with that one, but clearly was throwing those pitches over the middle of the plate. Should have allowed more damage than the 4 runs he did allow. But I think we'll need to see more support of that changeup for Springs to have success moving forward. You can call this start successful, but the ERA is really rough. The strikeouts and whip you'll take, especially in leagues where you're not burning a start. However, I don't know if we're going to see this level of changeup feel moving forward. He hasn't had this all year, but maybe this is the start, and maybe it's enough to carry him to a win in Kansas City next time out. That's Jeffrey Springs. And lastly, we've got Merrill Kelly, who helped the Diamondbacks to a win against the Mariners, tossing 6 shutout innings, allowing 4 hits and 2 walks while striking out 7. He induced 14 whiffs with 34% CSW across 92 pitches, and that 34% CSW led baseball on Monday, earning Kelly the King Cole. The kitchen sink approach was in full effect in this one as he deployed 6 different offerings. His changeup stood out the most, though, inducing 6 whiffs and 35% CSW, while his trio of fastballs effectively earned strikes all day, with his sinker leading the pack with 92% strikes and 39% CSW. And this is what Kelly does. His deep arsenal allows him to adjust on the fly, to focus on the pitches for which he has the best feel on any given night, and combined with his above average command, which allows him to get away with mixing pretty mediocre fastballs around the zone, Kelly continues to look like a reliable Holly once again. He'll get the Padres up next, and I'm fine starting him there. But if you'd like a breakdown of every single start from Monday, give the Plus Pitch podcast a listen and check out Nick's daily SP roundup over on pitcherlist.com. Now we'll head to the bullpen and check out the relievers that got saves and the closers that pitched outside of save situations or blew their saves. Starting with the former, Tanner Scott recorded his 12th save as he worked around the zombie runner, scoring in the 10th. Emilio Pagan recorded his 16th save with a hitless 9th. And lastly, Jeff Hoffman pitched a perfect 10th for his 16th save. And in terms of closers to pitch outside of save situations or blow their saves, Robert Suarez pitched a perfect 9th in a tie game that the Padres would lose in 10. Kenley Jansen got the final out of a game after Sean Anderson worked into trouble in the 9th. Jordan Romano pitched a perfect 10th, and the Phillies would win that one in 11. Daniel Palencia pitched a clean 10th, then allowed the Phillies to walk it off in the 11th to take his second loss. Pete Fairbanks got the final out of the 8th, but then allowed 2 runs in the 9th to blow his second save. However, the Rays would hold on to win that one in 11. Aroldis Chapman pitched in that one, allowing the zombie runner to score in the 10th, but the Red Sox would go on to lose that one in 11. Raisel Iglesias pitched a perfect 8th with a 4-run lead, and then Dylan Lee pitched the 9th in that one, up by 6. I think they're trying to get Iglesias a confidence so that they can put him back into that closer role. Ryan Helsley served up a game-tying homer in the 9th to blow his 5th save, and the Cardinals would lose that one in 10. Andres Munoz pitched a scoreless 9th in a tie game. The Mariners would go on to lose in 11. And lastly, Justin Martinez allowed a run in the 9th with a 4-run lead before leaving with the trainer and handing the ball to Jeff Brigham, who let the entire lead slip away. However, the Diamondbacks would hold on to win in 11 innings via a walk-off grand slam from Josh Naylor. But if you'd like more information on relief pitchers, check out Rick Graham's weekly articles over on pitcherlist.com. And before we look forward to today's games, we're going to take a quick break. Now we'll look forward to Tuesday, June 10th, a day in which we'll have a full slate of 15 games. My matchup of the day is Ryan Pepio versus Lucas Giolito. Should be a fun matchup. It could be high scoring. We've seen Giolito blow up quite a bit recently. I have both these guys on my home league team, so maybe I'm a little bit biased, but I'll definitely be tuning into that one to see how these guys do in this intra-division matchup. In terms of probable starters, we've got 3 guys in the auto starts tier, including Max Fried in Kansas City, Mackenzie Gore in Queens, and Brian Wu in Arizona. Our probably starts tier has 8 guys, and our questionable starts tier has 11 guys, and that's where we'll find our streamer of the day in Slade Ciccone versus the Reds. It's always nice to have a pitcher facing the Reds on the road, and Ciccone's good enough to find success, find a win, maybe a quality start there against the Reds. And I'd also keep an eye out for Lucas Giolito against the Rays. Obviously, already mentioned him. he is a cherry bomb at this point. You really are just flipping a coin with Giolito. It's a tough streaming day. There's a lot of options that might be available in your league. Definitely go check out the article to see how that lines up with your league. But Giolito is somebody that's not rostered in the majority of leagues. And if you're looking for somebody that could come out and have a huge night or could also blow up and you have the ability to take that chance, then go ahead and roll with Giolito versus the Rays. In terms of hitter suggestions, I'd look at Jeff McNeil versus Mackenzie Gore in Queens. McNeil has batted .700 with a 1450 OPS and 10 career at-bats against Mackenzie Gore. I'd also look at Mark Canha versus Max Fried in Kansas City. Canha has batted .278 with 2 homers and a 1076 OPS in 18 ABs in his career against Max Fried. I'd also look at Will Benson versus Slade Cecconi in Cleveland. Benson is batting .500 with 2 homers and a 1931 OPS in 8 at-bats against Cecconi. I'd also take a look at Harrison Bader versus Tyler Mahle in Minnesota. Bader has batted .444 with 2 homers and a 1726 OPS in 9 at-bats against Mahle. And lastly, you got to go for Giants and Rockies hitters in Coors on Tuesday. The pitching matchup will be Kyle Harrison versus Carson Palmquist. It's a pair of southpaws, so you'll be wanting to target right-handed hitting Giants and Rockies hitters in Coors. Now we'll close things out with our relievers to watch. Aroldis Chapman has pitched in 3 in a row, so I think we'll see Greg Weissert be the Red Sox temporary closer on Tuesday. Pete Fairbanks has pitched in 3 of the past 4 days, but so have Garrett Clevenger and Manuel Rodriguez. So one of Eric Orr's, Mason Montgomery, or Edwin Uceta is likely to get a save for the Rays on Tuesday. Jeff Hoffman has pitched on 3 of the past 4, so we could see Chad Green get a save on Tuesday. Kenley Jansen has pitched 3 of the past 4 days, but so has Ryan Zefferjon. So maybe Reed Detmers gets a shot for the Angels on Tuesday. Andres Munoz has pitched on back-to-back days, so the likeliest candidates to fill in are Matt Brash or Gabe Spear. Justin Martinez is likely heading to the IL, so I would be picking up Shelby Miller everywhere. Tanner Scott has pitched on back-to-back days, but so has Kirby Yates, so I'd expect Michael Kopech to get a save for the Dodgers on Tuesday. And lastly, Robert Suarez has pitched on back-to-back days and in 3 of the past 4, so Jason Adams should fill in for the Padres on Tuesday. But that'll do it for today's episode of the First Pitch Podcast. Make sure to head on over to pitcherlist.com to check out all of the great articles and features we have on the site. Sign up for PL Plus or PL Pro to gain access to the Discord and to support the Pitcher List staff. You can follow me on Twitter at Jake Crumpler. Tune in live on YouTube tomorrow and every day for a new installment of the podcast. And make sure to enjoy the day as we are blessed with another day of baseball.